to it. So 2 weeks ago, on February 16th, I ran a poll, and a poll says, which crypto has the best long-term technology? I didn't know what it was going to come up. I'm not a crypto guy. My audience is not a crypto community. It's very neutral. I put Ripple, Bitcoin, Ethereum, other, explain why. At the lowest was Ethereum, 9%. Other was 12%. Bitcoin, whom I thought was going to be 70%, was 35%. And Ripple came up at 44%. This is 179,000 people voting. So it's not 200 or 800 or 10,000. It's nearly 200,000 people voting. Then Gary Cardone retweets it and says, when people run a poll like this and they don't know what they're talking about, this is why people get confused. No problem. Then I challenge him. Why don't you run the same exact poll I run and let's see what it does on your audience? I don't know. I'm not a Ripple guy. I'm not a Bitcoin guy. I'm not an Ethereum guy. I'm a business guy. He runs it. The results when he runs it is the following. He said, you are 50 years old, worth $10 million, and going into suspended hibernation for 8 years, escaping complete world chaos. You are required to make 100% investment in one of the following and have 1 hour to make a decision. XRP, Solana, US dollar, Bitcoin. XRP 67%, Bitcoin 30%. 23,000 people voted. I think this was taken down afterwards. Why? I don't know. When you look at what Bitcoin is versus XRP, you'll see one is centralized, one is decentralized. Bitcoin being decentralized, the other one being centralized. Centralized may be faster, may be public, like the Federal Reserve. People know about it. Decentralized, there is little regulation on it. There is not much control over it. So there's two benefits for both. If somebody is a person that believes in diversification, there's an element for both that's needed. Now, for actual usage of the technology, when you pull it up and you compare the two against each other, here's what you'd come up. When it comes down to transaction speed, you notice Bitcoin 10 minutes, XRP 3 to 5 seconds. Transaction cost, high during congestion, XRP very low. Decentralization, we talked about that. Use case, store value, person to person, XRP cross-border systems, supply 21 million, XRP 100 billion. Energy use is high, XRP low. Adoption, broad, mainstream, XRP niche, institutional. So if you look at this, of course, like, well, then XRP is better. That's what I'm going to be doing. You pull up another chart. This other chart talks about transactions per second. The average block time. Bitcoin, 10 minutes. Litecoin, 2.5 minutes. Ethereum, 15 seconds. Ethereum 2.0, 12 seconds. Ripple, 3 to 5 seconds. Solana, 0.4 seconds. And you can go down and look at all these other guys. So the argument that's being made about what this one, what about that one, what about this one? Then you look at numbers of the price of Bitcoin versus price of Ripple. When you look at the price of Bitcoin, of where it is today and where Ripple is at, this is what you'll notice. Today, Ripple is give or take $244. Bitcoin today, give or take $86,000. Okay?
If you go back 4 years ago, Ripple's high was $1.65. Bitcoin 4 years ago was $64,000. If you go to 2017 to 2018, Ripple high was $384. Bitcoin was $17,800.
To let's just say $86,000 to $100,000. It's 6x, let's say 5x, while Ripple has actually gone down. Now, of course, there's a pending lawsuit. Is that going to get cleared? Security. Is it a security? Is it not? President Trump, he's mentioned an XRP. And what's kind of weird in his whole Truth Social post, what's the first cryptocurrency he puts in there? It's not Bitcoin. It's not Ethereum. It's not Cardano. The first one he puts in there is XRP Ripple. Why? You saw the CEO of Ripple, Brad, coming out there kind of talking, and people are saying, hey, we ought to look at this. What if the case gets dropped? What if that doesn't happen? Gary Gensler's no longer there. Gary Gensler was not a big fan of Ripple. There's all these videos that we've seen behind closed doors on what's going on. Here's all I'm saying. Just so you know you're watching this, let me confuse you a little bit. I own way more Bitcoin than I do Ripple. I own very little Ripple. I don't want this thing to be an endorsement of Ripple. For whatever I own of Bitcoin, I own a tenth of it in Ripple, just to make things. Ethereum, I own 3 times Ethereum than I do of Ripple. I'm just looking at it on what direction it's going to go.
This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold.
And this is something you believe in fully?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole community believes in it.
Very good. And I made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
What does that really mean? When you look at Ripple in the first place, technology company founded in 2012, focused on revolutionizing global payments through blockchain-based solutions. It develops financial infrastructure that enables fast, low-cost, and efficient cross-border transactions. The owner is SPI Holdings and Andreessen Horowitz, well-known company. We know Andreessen Horowitz. They own a lot of different things. Remember earlier I told you all these big financial institutions have invested into Bitcoin. We talked about Morgan Stanley, all these other guys. When it comes down to Ripple, do you know 300 financial institutions already use Ripple Net as of 2024? One of them being Bank of America. Bank of America uses them. American Express uses the technology that Ripple Net has. So it's not like others aren't starting to gradually behind closed doors say, maybe we need this technology, because when it comes down to CBDC, Ripple partners with government to build blockchain infrastructure for CBDC. Everybody's trying to find out, hey man, we got to build something here. Whose technology do we use? The government decides to team up with Ripple. Ripple's 2024 partnership with central banks and its stablecoin launch signal this direction. So they're already making that progress. What is the next big event that happens? Is the settlement, is the issues they're having with SEC. If those things get dropped and it's done, you may see a big growth and a spike with Ripple. And by the way, if you're a crypto person yourself, you're probably furious saying, why are you not mentioning Solana? Do you not realize their blazing speed and the fees and what they got and the market cap, $80 billion? Solana is better than XRP. Here's what I've learned, guys. There is like 50 religions in cryptocurrency, and everybody talks about their coin is the best one. But you know what happened? If we take everybody that tell us what their coin is the best one, and then we ask them to actually open the wallet to see what coin they have, the coin that they own the most of, that's the best coin in the world. My interest is, I hear you, you sound convincing. I hear you, you sound convincing. I hear you sound convincing. For a person that is not in the business of sitting there spending 200 hours to look at everything here, diversification is for someone that says, let me see which one's going to go. I'm going to try a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit there. For someone that doesn't want to specialize in this, it is something you have to pay attention to. Here's why. Let's just say XRP decides to, all of a sudden, they replace Swift. Let's say that happens. If XRP replaces Swift and FedNow, you know what happens? Let me give you some numbers here. XRP's ledger processes transactions in 3 to 5 seconds at nearly no cost, making it significantly faster and cheaper than Swift. So Swift processes $5 trillion daily, or 1.25 quadrillion annually. If you didn't know what that was, quadrillion annually, Swift. If XRP captures 5 to 10% of volume, let's just say 10% of volume, $125 trillion annually. The demand for XRP, by the way, it could be any of these other technologies we're talking about. Analysts estimate that a $10 trillion market cap could push XRP's price to $100 per token, with full replacement potentially driving it up to $1,000. Now, who those analysts are, I'm willing to bet those analysts own Ripple. And that's why they're writing this. Hey, analysts, just because I say analyst says, it doesn't mean they're 100% right, but hey, it is a way of looking at what could happen with this. If this were to happen, it's a big deal. Now, the roadblock that they have are a couple things. One is the SEC lawsuit that has slowed adoption, but a resolution could boost institutional confidence. Regulatory approval, especially in the U.S., is critical for widespread adoption. Let me unpack the legal trouble. Let's just go back 4 or 5 years so you kind of know what's going on here. December 22nd, 2020, the SEC filed a lawsuit against Ripple Labs and its executive, Brad Garlinghouse, alleging that the sale of XRP constituted an unregistered securities offering worth over $1.3 billion. Then in April of 2021, Judge Sarah Netburn granted a motion limiting the SEC's access to the personal financial records of Garlinghouse and Larson, marking a procedural win for Ripple. Then 2 years later, July 13, 2023, Judge Annalisa Torres issued a mixed ruling. XRP was not deemed a security when sold on public exchanges, but institutional sales violated securities law. Ripple was fined $125 million, significantly less than the original $2 billion. Then we go to October 2024. SEC filed an appeal against Judge Torres' ruling, seeking clarity on XRP's clarification. Ripple's leadership criticized the appeal, and XRP's value experienced volatility, dropping to a 11% following the news. November 2024, reports surfaced that Gary Gensler planned departure in January 2025. Hello, that was a big moment for them because Gary was a guy that was not happy about it. He kind of had some favors with a couple friends he had, different places. Legal experts, including attorney Jeremy Hogan, speculated that this could lead to a resolution of Ripple case by spring or early summer of 2025. December 2nd, XRP's market performance showed significant growth with a 123% growth, increased since SEC's initial lawsuit, showing signs of optimism. So who knows what's going to be happening? When the president, his name is Donald Trump, and he puts something on Truth Social, and the first one he puts up is XRP, then the retweet, he says, let me also give some love to Bitcoin and Ethereum. that means some of the people behind closed doors that are in his ear, like a guy like Elon Musk and some of the other people, maybe something's about to happen. I would be paying attention. That's all I'm saying to you. Next 3, 6, 12 months, I'd be paying attention to what's going on here. Who knows? And remember, if you're somebody that doesn't do their own research, if you're somebody that doesn't go out there and put hours into seeing what's going on here, the best way to go is diversification. That's for those that don't want to go out there and do the research. And they don't want to just sit there and be like, I'm going to bank on this. You have no idea what's going to be happening. Having said that, if you got value out of this video, give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, you've never seen the video, The Dark Side of CBDC, click here to watch it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.